bachelor. If you can't, they don't exist. So I'm just using the theology. So in the essence of, or in the spirit of an omnibenevolent God, an all-loving God, and the relationship that always been told to us that God loves you so much, he wants to have a relationship with you. This God, by definition, would want to be open to relationships. If you're open to. So if I'm open to a relationship with God, and I'm pure of heart, and that God chose not to, and by the way, I'm going to steel man this argument because I'm going to display the arguments against it, which is actually, some are sound and valid, but we're going to, they call the theodicy.
Maybe you can explain what a steel man argument is.
Sure. So, straw man is when you take somebody's weakest argument and you sort of dismantle it, or you portray it in a cartoonish way. Steel man is I'm going to pick the best arguments against this, and I'm going to build a case of why this is not the case. So I'm not going to attack it from a straw man position. So I'm going to strengthen it as the conversation goes. So we talked about the what we perceive as a God. What would you conceive of a God, and especially the Abrahamic one? So we're talking omnibenevolence, the best personal being, the unsurpassed in all qualities, perfect in all qualities. He's also claimed in the different books that he wants to have a relationship with humans, with his beings, and he's open to these relationships. So from non-resistance, non-belief, the people who actually really wanted I'm still curious. I'm an agnostic atheist. If there are evidence tomorrow that would show me something, so I'm not dogmatic, I would change my mind if I can be convinced of something else. But that is the sort of stance I've had for a number of years, and nothing was forthcoming. But then I start looking into the evidence, and I read the Quran and the Bible and the Old Testament and different languages, and I can see the inconsistencies. So this is just an argument that will hopefully ignite some doubt, so you can actually do the actual hard work of researching, because there's more to it. So if this God is always open to personal relationships with finite person, there should be no finite person at any point of time in a state of non-resistance, non-belief, because there'll be no fault of theirs. Remember, this is actually Schellenberg and other philosophers didn't talk about this, but I want to talk about it. Remember what is at stake here. If you belong to the Christian or the Muslim faith, the Jewish don't care about hell so much. Actually, hasn't been mentioned much in their literature. The sort of was more symbolic, was more if you read the old text of the Torah, there isn't a hell really, so you just sort of vanish. It's only in the recent writings that were added a bit of the concepts of the fallen angel and the concept of hell that was a bit more metaphorical. Only with Jesus, meek and mild, that actually came the concept of a proper hell. Obviously, there are Revelation, and there are very, very interesting verses in there which shows all sort of type of creatures with number of heads, and there is hell and lake of fire and eternal torment. So when you consider and the Muslim hell is probably one of the worst. It's Dante's imagination couldn't even capture the torment that you're going to be facing. So considering what's at stake, eternal damnation and eternal torment, and for non-resistant non-believers to be given this sort of very weak reason to believe in God, and you're going, okay, well, that's not fair. The first thing you're going to say, he's not fair. So that he's in contradiction with the nature of a deity, just. And obviously having a relationship. If you want to have a relationship, we know love. We know love, how it feels. How is it to love somebody? How is it to be loved by somebody? You want to keep a relationship. You want to have a relationship and a communication. But that doesn't happen for a lot of people who left religion. So there's more to it. So we know for sure that some finite persons have been resistantly non-believers, because I was one. There's a lot of people they have been. They were religious and they got out of it, not because they just want to go around drinking alcohol and run naked on the streets. It is more substances. There's actually a lot of atheists and agnostic will spend more time. The virtue that we are all here today, spending hours of our Sunday while we could be doing something else, it means we're taking this seriously. So if there is a God, this would be a lot of respect here. We're respecting ourselves and we're having a conversation about this proposition. This is noble. And if there is a God, you would think this very setup has a lot more value than blind faith, because in Christianity and other religions, faith is the highest possible sort of virtue, to believe without seeing. While I think critical thinking, examining information, and making sure you're doing the right thing for the right reasons should be of way higher value. So if there was a God, this would be, if there's heaven, I'll take people to heaven who actually been critically thinking about me and trying to find reasons why it should or should not exist. So notice here, it doesn't say no God exists, it says no perfectly God exists. Obviously leaves the door to the old type of gods that we know now they have been debunked for various reasons, because even if they exist, there are no gods, and therefore we just go on about our lives as normal because we have bigger fish to fry. We go through dilemmas and marriages, breakups, relationships, jobs, and life isn't a playground for most of us. It's a struggle, and we all try to make better versions of ourselves. Now, I am going to stop at this because I think the interaction, the conversation is going to lead to more ideas, and it's going to give people the idea to sort of vindisplane if they're religious and object. And yeah, so please go ahead and start asking questions.
So what's the actual conclusion, that God doesn't exist, or that
no such God? No such God. No all-loving, omnibenevolent, and all-just God does not exist.
Because your last number 7 there also states that God doesn't exist.
Yes. So, because we've postulated that if there is a God that was not just sort of the gods of Thor and wrath and the ones that err and act exactly like humans, because I want to make sure that the word God is distinguished from the creator. You can be a creator, but you can be a God. To be a God comes with its own. It's almost like to be a father. What is it to be a father, and what is it to be a biological father? He would donate some sperm and don't care for their children afterwards. And a father, even non-biological fathers who will look after their children, maybe adopted ones, and show them love and care. So
there are philosophical conceptions of God that are not personal. It's an impersonal, distant God.
God of Spinoza.
So he cannot form a relationship with a human being.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But remember that God is indifferent.
So this argument does then prove that such a God cannot exist.
No. So that's why I am differentiating between the word God, a caring one who has created finite beings and wants to care for them and wants to have a relationship, than the God of Spinoza. God of Spinoza is an indifferent one. He created the universe and set up the motions, but does not care about what you have for dinner or who you have sex with. And that is not a God. So that is not that's a creator deity who does not care even if you worship him or not. He's gone. He's out of the picture. So I posit you can just go on and do whatever you're doing in life without having to worry about this. Maybe this God is all his missions trying to discover the puzzles of the laws of nature that I've put for you, and you humans just play along and try to figure out what clever plans I've put. But that's not a God. Go.
Look, I've described myself as an atheist as regards the Abrahamic God. And I think it's essentially the reason I would say that is that it seems to be quintessentially the product of the human mind.
Sure.
But I would say I'm an agnostic regarding some other notion of God. So, what I see here is how would you put it, the old argument between
Right.
And you say that Spinoza's God, for example, isn't a real God. Well, it seems to me that you're basically locking yourself into a sense that by God we mean a moral arbitrator, creator, and omnipotent and omniscient.
Yeah, because I'm trying to link the consequences of that relationship. So if there is a God, the God of Spinoza, or the God of the mystics, that God is everything and all the atoms and what this chair is made of, and then it's diluted, an idea of a God.
But you're essentially saying that that way of using the word God,
yes,
referring to a moral arbitrator, omnipotent, omniscient, etc.,
yes,
is the correct way, and that any other usage of the word God is incorrect.
No, I'm not postulating that. I've just chosen the most dominant, the Abrahamic faiths combined together. They are 5 billion people, and they are dominant in the 7 billion we have. I'm using it from an argument from practicality.
Most people thought the world was flat at one stage.
He's just looking at it from a...
Yeah, but then you can go out and actually prove that sort of thing. But
You're sort of looking at it from a Western Christian perspective.
But in response to Rowan,
yeah,
there is an argument that the concept of God necessarily includes the concept of it having moral attributes. The concept that God is morally good is built into the concept of God. There's an argument for that. And I think it's quite a good argument, because most people who believe in God think that, once again, God is worship-worthy, and he's worship-worthy because he has particular moral qualities, perfect justice, perfect love, etc. So I think there is an argument. I think there is an argument for going from step 6 to step 7.
yes.
That if our concept of God, for something to be God, necessarily it must have some moral attributes.
If somebody's calling you a friend, they will have to act in a certain way to be that friend. They can say, "Oh, I'm your friend." Never calls you, never talks to you, never does anything for you. Actually, almost sounds like it doesn't exist. So a friendship has certain consequences. Somebody saying, "I'm your father, I'm your mother," relationships, unless we're talking about something else and we want to redefine terms to put something or to give, then we were defining terms.
See, you first of all, before, you're saying, "Oh, well, many people believe this, that this is the correct notion of God." But now you're trying to come around to Les's way of looking at it, that it is actually the correct way of using the word God.
Well,
it is. You're saying that is the correct way of using the word God.
Well, God, yeah, certainly God. I think it's pretty correct that God is not just a sterile empirical notion, that the concept has imbued within it certain moral attributes. God has certain moral attributes.
I would have to agree with that.
Otherwise, how do you distinguish between an all-powerful devil and an all-powerful God?
Okay,
well, the distinction is God has certain good moral attributes that the devil, an all-powerful devil, doesn't. So there's an argument for thinking that the concept God has imbued within it.
I would agree with that, because if you're a God and created a concept in human beings to perceive love, relationships in a certain way, and to evolve in that way, which is very sane, because love and relationship and collaboration, cooperation, arguably, is the reason why we're all here as species. Because without that, we would have been extinct. We were weaker, we had less teeth and claws than everybody else, all the animals, but our collaboration and our love and our companionship has caused us to survive today. But if God has a different concept that for some strange reason is not revealing and is not telling us and infusing us with that definition, then there is a huge disconnect.
Just before we continue, I'd like to make a few announcements. I forgot to mention before that tea and coffee and biscuits